Hey, 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 welcome back, everybody. Today is Thursday, November 21st, 2024. Hope you guys are doing well. The bull market is back. Unless you're watching NVIDIA, then maybe you have a different feel. It's been a bit of a sloppy day today, and we'll get into that. But welcome to the Jam Session. This is the show where we review any action in the All-Star Options portfolio, any positions we may have exited, whether for a win or for a loss, any adjustments we may have made to some existing positions. We update some stops on positions that we have on the books, and then we quickly review new trades that we've put on since we last spoke last week. But before we get into any of the charts, of course, let's just drop the old disclaimer that everything we discussed here is for educational purposes. Yada, yada, yada. You do you. All right. Okay. Let's do this. Let's pull up the chart here. Let's pull up the. Well, let's talk about IWM since there it is. That's a good. It's a broad market measure. It's not the one, but topical for me because I put a trade on yesterday. You know, I put a trade on an IWM yesterday because let's talk about NVIDIA. Everyone's talking about NVIDIA, so let's talk about NVIDIA. Um, NVIDIA had earnings, in case you hadn't heard, unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple weeks. But NVIDIA had earnings yesterday after the market closed. And anytime you've got earnings in the biggest, most watched name in the country, in the world, you can expect volatility, or you should at least be prepared for volatility. And I came into the earnings event. I don't have any trade on. I mean, there's some old trades here that we had on. You can still see the details. This trade is closed out. But I didn't have any feel one way or the other for NVIDIA. But what I did think was that NVIDIA, as long as we didn't get an incredibly bearish result following earnings, and by that I mean like a major gap down, right? Like, so we closed yesterday around 145. If NVIDIA gapped down to say 120 today, that would be classified as a major bearish result, right? But barring that, as long as NVIDIA did not absolutely blow itself up, I felt like we needed to get that out of the way for the market to move higher. Now, the result that came through was a bit of a milquetoast result, right? Nvidia really hasn't done much. I mean, it's had a wide intraday today, but at the end, but right now we're only down a buck and a half from yesterday's close. No big deal. A big nothing burger for Nvidia earnings. In a when I was on the morning show yesterday and we put a trade out yesterday in the IWM, my thought was if Nvidia actually had a very positive result and we had a big gap up in Nvidia, then in my mind, we were going to throw gasoline on the bull market fire, and the stock market, the broad stock market, was just set up to rip. And I positioned in IWM because I figured we might get a little bit more beta in these smaller cap names if we get a market rip. Now, we're not getting the market rip, but neither are we getting the Nvidia bearish signal that I was a little bit worried about that might happen. It did not happen. So, we're going to see a little shakeout here for a couple days. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the bull market is alive and well. Nvidia was the last thing people were waiting for to give us an alternate signal. We didn't get it. So this bull market is ready to roll. It's going to keep going. So let's review positions that we've exited since we last spoke. Look, not everything works in a bull market, and we got a couple trades that are not working. So we'll discuss that. But you just gotta pull the weeds, right? Let the flowers grow, and we got a bunch of flowers that are growing really well, and we'll talk about a couple of those. But let's just get rid of the ones that aren't. So in no particular order, let's start with PSN. Boy, this one we were in and out very quickly, which I prefer that. In this case, we bought March 130 calls for 250 about a week and a half ago. Got stopped out like 3 days later. Sold them for 60 cents. Hey, so you win some, you lose some. Now, I like it when I lose early because usually it means I don't lose as much. I wouldn't say that's the case here, but at least it's dead weight that's out of my portfolio. I don't need to think about it. It doesn't have my attention anymore. It's gone. We paid 250. We were out for 60 cents. You win some, you lose some. We're out. No big deal. Okay, Coupang. We are still in this one, but I want to talk about it because it is flirting with our stop loss level. It's kind of hard to see here, but where our stop is at 24 bucks. And as you can see, we have touched 24 for now 4 consecutive trading days since we raised our stop to 24. It is flirting with the level. I'm giving this one the benefit of the doubt, maybe to my detriment. I don't know. but I want to see a decisive close below 24 until I act. Now, saying that, we did get a close below 24 yesterday, barely. We closed at what did we close at? 23.96. So just barely below. Here's what I'm thinking, at least for today, guys. If coupon goes and breaks yesterday's intraday low was 23.82. If we trade below that, then that's it. I've given it the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to pull the plug if we break yesterday's intraday low. But if it holds, then I'm just going to give the stock a little bit more wiggle room here, see what it can do, see if it can hold. Again, I really want it to be decisively below 24 before I get out. We don't have a lot of risk here. I mean, we bought these calls for $2. We have until February, so there's time, although time is running out. But I'm giving this one the benefit of the doubt. But I'm just putting this on your radar for now. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about some updated stops. We don't have a whole lot of updated stops. That's neither good nor bad. It is what it is. But let's go through them again. No particular order. This is one of our bearish trades. It's actually working very well for us. Insperity, ticker NSP. We're long the January 75 puts we got into back in mid-October. As you can see, the stock is moving lower nicely. We'd like to see that trend continue, but I am lowering my stop now to 83.50, which corresponds with this most recent bounce high. It also conveniently corresponds with the sinking 50-day moving average. So that's good. But 83.50 now is where I want to see Insperity hold. As long as it stays below 83.50, I'll continue holding these January puts. Okay, next up, Oracle. Oracle's finally starting to work for us, looking pretty good. We're along the June 200 calls. We got into this mid-October. We had a nice gap back in following the election, and so now we're going to lean against that low. The low from the post-election low is right around 177. So we're gonna now use 177 as our stop for Oracle. I'm hoping this thing runs. We got till June, so we're well positioned for a big run here. But yeah, 177 is my new stop in Oracle. Okay, next up is CCJ. We are actually initiating a stop here. We didn't have a stop when we put this trade on. Back on October 17th, because really the way we were going to play defense, instead of having a stop loss order, we were going to continue to sell calls. You can see down here at the bottom of my screen, we're going to sell calls against this position, like a covered call play kind of situation, keep selling calls to reduce our cost basis. And that's how we were playing defense. But now that the CCJ is breaking out to new highs, I'm looking at the chart now and I'm thinking, well, okay, that may have been a good plan for now, but I don't want to see this thing get back below 50. If it gets back below 50, I don't like the trade anymore. So I'm going to put a stop there at 50. I may or may not raise it in the coming days or weeks, but for now, let's just hope CCJ just keeps, trucking along a little bit here. I don't mind a nice slow creep higher. We can keep rolling our short calls for more credits. I mean, we have till January 2026 with our 80 strike calls. So we have over a year for this thing to play out. And the best case scenario for us is that CCJ just keeps going a little higher, keeping trucking a little higher. We keep rolling our calls, short calls for credits, keep lowering our cost basis. Eventually, I mean, in a perfect world, we do enough rolls of these short calls that the $5 debit that we paid for those calls gets completely paid for, and then we're holding the position for free. That's what I would like to see happen. And by the way, guys, I know that some of that may sound complicated to many of you. We have a detailed trade plan laid out for this position, for this trade. It can be found at allstarcharts.com. Head to the members section, head to the options section. We have a detailed trade plan for this trade, how we're going to manage it, how we're going to make adjustments, when we're going to make adjustments. All that is in there. We do that for every single trade. So if you're not involved in All Star Options, get involved. We post up great ideas. It's educational. We got a great community, a live chat room where people discuss trades all day long. So why not join us? It's the holiday season. Why don't you give yourself a gift and join All Star Options? All right. So CCJ, the new stop, initiating a stop there at 50. Last up is CM. Now I'm not doing any changes to this trade yet. Okay. But I want to put this on your radar because these are December options. You can see here we're long December 55 calls that we got into on August 9th. This has been a home run trade for us, by the way. We paid $1.05 for these calls back in early August. The stock is now our stock is now more than $10 in the money. Our calls are trading for, I don't know, $11 last time I checked, or more. So huge home run for us. But we're starting to get towards expiration. And next week is a holiday week, so some of you may not be around. We're not going to have a show next week. So I want to put this on your radar now. As we head into December, which is expiration month, that's when I'm going to start really tightening the strings on this position, having a trailing stop. Generally speaking, I use discretion, of course, for this, but generally speaking, when we're approaching expiration on a position like this, I want to have a trailing stop that's somewhere around the 3 to 5 day low. So if I were to initiate that stop today, just as an example, we're looking at the chart. This is a daily chart. You can see here are the last 5 trading days of CM, and the low of the last 5 trading days was right about 62. Let's just call it 63, a nice whole number, right? So I would put my stop at 63 if I were to do that today. All right. I wouldn't want to see CM get back below 63. And as the days go by, every day going forward, I'll keep looking at this chart and I'll readjust my stop higher if I need to. But I want to have it trailing the 3 to 5 day low because we're running out of time, right? And we don't want to see big profits get taken away from us in the waning days of this position. That would be very unfortunate. We don't really have to worry about premium. These calls are so far in the money, there's not really any premium left in them. So I'm not worried about stopping out because I'm worried about theta decay. That's not an issue I'm really concerned about here. I just don't want to see this position reverse on us. So keep an eye on CM. I'm still holding strong, which, by the way, we're getting close to 67. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. 67 from day one was a significant level for us. If we get to 67, that was an area where I planned to take some profits. Now, I think the way I'm doing it, I think the way I laid it out in the plan, and this is what I'm going to do now, certainly, is if we get to 67, which we're getting close, baby, getting close, I'm going to sell half of my position there. All right. And book a monster win, guaranteed profits at that point. But I'm going to still hold the remaining half just for a little bit longer, see where we can go. I mean, look, these are the types of stocks, these are the types of setups, I should say, that sometimes they just start going parabolic. I'm not saying this is going to go parabolic. I'm not saying it's a meme stock or anything like that, but I mean, there's nothing bearish about this setup whatsoever. So this is a great win for us. It's been a great win for us. Our stop currently is at 59. I'm hoping that never comes into play. And in the coming weeks, we'll be raising our stops aggressively to lock in this gain. So that's it on CM. That's it for all of our updated stops. There weren't a whole lot of them today, but there they are. And lastly, we'll talk about the new trades. I'm not going to go into full details on these trades. Again, if you want the details of every trade in All Star Options, you can head to the website, allstarcharts.com, and find them there. But let's just briefly touch on them without giving away any details. We're long Hilton. Love this setup. Let's zoom out a little bit. We have, let's go 1 year-ish. I mean, look at this trend, right? Do you want to step in front of this trend? And hey, I'm traveling tonight. I'm flying to Michigan. I'm staying in a Hilton hotel, and I can tell you, Hilton hotels are not cheap these days. If you've booked a hotel room in the last year or so, you've noticed that the price of hotel rooms have gone up across the board, and Hilton is certainly benefiting from that. And the stock chart certainly tells that same story. But we are long Hilton. That's a new trade we got into early this week. Next new trade we got into end of last week is DoorDash. We are long here. Again, details at allstarcharts.com. And finally, IWM. This is a trade we got into yesterday. We talked about it on the morning show this morning. So far, so good. We're bullish on the small caps, especially now that NVIDIA's out of the way and NVIDIA didn't do anything drastic and scare the market. I think these small caps really have the opportunity to outperform for the next leg higher in this bull market. All right, guys, lastly, I'll leave you with this slide here. This is the updated stops. I know some of you guys like to see this. You can take a screenshot if you must, but those are the updated stops. And lastly, whether you're a member of All Star Options or not, if you got a question, shoot me an email, info@allstarcharts. It'll get routed to me. I will answer it and hopefully steer you in the right direction. If you want to get involved in All Star Options, that's the link. I also put it in the chat, in the YouTube chat there. So the link is there. You can also sign up for my free daily note, guys. If you're not getting it, what are you doing? I send out a daily note almost every day, not every day, but almost every day, talking about some trades I might be in or some a coachable moment, a teachable moment in trading, some trader psychology. I share some trader interviews, all kinds of stuff that are relevant to options traders like you. So head on there and get those links. Lastly, if you like the charts I share here, trendspider.com. You could use my promo code Sean50 and they'll give you a 50% off a subscription plan at trendspider.com. All right, everybody, that's all I got for you. Have a great weekend. Again, we're not going to talk next week. It's the holiday week. It's probably not going to be much going on in the markets anyway. Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to those of you who celebrate. If you don't, well, enjoy some time off. And we'll be back at it in 2 weeks. Until then, trade them well, everybody.